I love how Spock hates Kirk on Star Trek. Strange New Worlds. When Star Trek Strange New Worlds introduced Paul Wesley's James T. Kirk to the series, many fans wondered how his dynamic with Ethan Peck's Spock would play out. After all, the original series gave us one of the most iconic friendships in television history, two men who were wildly different, yet formed a bond so deep it shaped the destiny of Starfleet. But Strange New Worlds has taken a bold step. Instead of giving us an immediate echo of that legendary camaraderie, the show has leaned into something far more intriguing. Spock doesn't like Kirk. In fact, there's an undercurrent of resentment, mistrust, and even subtle hostility that makes their early relationship fascinating to watch. And I love it. This version of Spock, still young, still wrestling with his dual nature, and still finding his place in Starfleet, wouldn't just automatically warm up to Kirk. Instead, Strange New Worlds gives us a Spock who bristles at Kirk's personality, questions his instincts, and doesn't hide his discomfort with how Kirk does things. Rather than fast-forwarding to friendship, the series makes us earn it. This storytelling choice makes their eventual bond feel richer, more believable, and more powerful when it inevitably blossoms. Spock's early distrust makes perfect sense. Spock isn't the type of character who thrives on first impressions. In Strange New Worlds, he's still deeply logical, often rigid, and occasionally prickly when others stray from regulation or reason. Kirk, on the other hand, is a classic improviser. He trusts his gut, takes risks, and bends rules when he thinks it's necessary. That kind of leadership would drive Spock absolutely up the wall in his early career. It makes sense, then, that Spock would dislike Kirk upon first meeting him. To Spock, Kirk embodies unpredictability, the very thing Vulcans are trained to avoid. More than that, Kirk represents a threat to Spock's ordered worldview. Where Captain Pike offers mentorship and balance, Kirk is a chaotic force who challenges Spock's sense of logic. The fact that Strange New Worlds leans into this tension rather than glossing over it shows a deep respect for character development. A bold contrast to the original series. The original Star Trek, of course, introduced Kirk and Spock as already having a strong working relationship. Their friendship was legendary, built on trust and mutual admiration. Strange New Worlds could have easily replicated that formula, giving fans instant nostalgia. But instead, it offers something different, an origin story of friction before loyalty. By making Spock openly dislike Kirk, the series adds complexity to both characters. Spock's disdain highlights his youth and inexperience, while Kirk's cool confidence makes him look reckless in Spock's eyes. Viewers get to see the long road these men must travel before becoming the iconic duo. It transforms what could have been a predictable dynamic into something fresh and layered. Spock's struggle with humanity adds another layer. One of the most interesting aspects of Strange New Worlds' portrayal of Spock is his ongoing battle to reconcile his Vulcan and human halves. His interactions with Kirk tie directly into this struggle. Kirk represents unrestrained humanity, the impulsiveness, the charm, the refusal to bow to logic when instinct screams otherwise. To Spock, this is both frustrating and threatening. Where Pike encourages Spock's growth by teaching him balance, Kirk forces Spock to confront the parts of himself he'd rather ignore. Spock's dislike of Kirk isn't just about clashing personalities. It's symbolic of Spock rejecting his own human instincts. In many ways, his disdain for Kirk is really disdain for himself, projected onto the brash young officer who embodies everything Spock fears losing control of. Why this hate is so compelling. What makes this dynamic so enjoyable is that it isn't cartoonish animosity. Spock doesn't throw tantrums or insult Kirk openly. Instead, his hate comes in subtle eye rolls, cutting remarks, or stiff disapproval during tense moments. It's a quiet, simmering dislike that feels authentic to Spock's character. The brilliance lies in how Strange New Worlds plays this tension without making either man the villain. Kirk isn't wrong to follow his instincts. Spock isn't wrong to rely on logic. But when these two approaches collide, sparks fly, and those sparks are incredibly entertaining. We get drama, humor, and hints of the greatness that will eventually define their partnership, building toward one of Star Trek's greatest friendships. The slow burn animosity between Spock and Kirk isn't just fun, it's essential. By showing us the rocky beginnings of their relationship, Strange New Worlds sets the